episode 8 of Talking Tokens.
Tokens take Manhattan, I believe.
Yes. Mike Bradshaw here with Andy Vanderbilt. And today we're going to be focusing mainly on a few Fantasy Flight things that we've seen over the week.
Yeah, they've been really hitting it pretty hard as far as getting updates and announcements out.
Mm-hmm.
This one's really exciting because one particular announcement fixes something a lot of people have been clamoring for in a very popular game here.
Yeah. Do you want to, before we get into that, do you want to talk a little bit about the things going on with Games Workshop?
Yes, we got to actually, there's been a lot of Warhammer talk lately.
Mm-hmm.
8th edition's coming out next month. They're doing pre-orders on June 3rd. Definitely check out your local Games Workshop or any of your friendly local game stores. See if you can get a copy of the upcoming rulebook or even the Dark Imperium, I think is the name of it. All I know is it's got really cool models and it's a great way to get into the game. But one of the bigger, kind of sneakier things that came out was Age of Sigmar Skirmish, which we actually got to try out in the store last Saturday, and I think overall it's a really great system.
Mm-hmm.
Even you got to kind of
I got to play some spooky skeletons and haunting ghosts, and it was pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see where it goes. I do think the game, it's not perfect. I do think it's great that you can play Age of Sigmar with 6 models,
mm-hmm.
depending on what they are. And I like the idea of the campaign mode. I will admit I do think they need to retweak some of the point values and some stuff like that. But it's a work in progress. I figured like anything. For $7 for the digital copy or $10 for the actual hardcover copy, you can't go wrong picking up the skirmish rules.
No, not at all.
And it's great because someone actually cracked the formula for the most part where models that aren't actually included in the core book, you can actually put them in there.
Okay,
and
yeah.
It doesn't...
they lifted up the hood and took a look at the mechanics underneath.
Yeah, because it's not based off points, it's based off renown, which is actually based off like a formula base. It's really cool how people are taking it and running with it, and I think it's going to be a great way for if you're someone who's been on the fence about getting into Age of Sigmar because you think, oh god, I need to buy 100 models, especially if you play Skeletons or Skaven or something like that. You can actually go. They actually have warband boxes
mm-hmm.
that run for about $60, and they actually come with the models you need. Or if you just have some extra models laying around, you can make your own warband out of that.
Yeah.
But I like it. I really think it's going to be a great way to introduce more people to the game.
So it's the Age of Sigmar Skirmish,
mm-hmm.
and what is the name of the 40k rule set?
Shadow War Armageddon.
Shadow War Armageddon, okay.
Which is their take on the skirmish mode that's been very popular. You still can't, as far as I know, find the box for it. But the rules are readily available online. You can, I think it's like $30, but you get a nice PDF file or a nice ebook file that has everything you need in it. We actually tested that out last night, and even though we didn't really know what we were doing too much, it was a lot of fun. Once again, it's that thrill of being able to play and personalize a small group of figures to essentially be like a war band, or in that case, they're a call to kill team. But Games Workshop's really stepping up their game, and I'm really excited to see what June brings because we're going to be starting to promote 40k and Age of Sigmar in the store.
Yeah, it's going to be Mondays and Tuesdays. We're going to be playing those 2 games,
which is going to work out excellent because I don't know if anyone has been to the Games Workshop here in Chicago, a couple of Games Workshops here, but the one I usually frequent is in Orland Park, run by Eric, manager there. And I just have to say, the last thing you want to do is step on this guy's toes because he's usually one of the nicest,
absolutely,
most informative people, always friendly. And when I went in there and told him, like, yeah, we're looking to, do those on Monday, Tuesdays, because I know you guys are closed, he was excited about the idea. He's like, yeah, build up the community because, of course, if we get more people playing 40k and Age of Sigmar here, we can send them up there. And, I'm excited to be working with Games Workshop in even that really small scale, and especially Eric in particular because that store is fantastic. And if you've never been into a Games Workshop before, because it's always kind of intimidating, I highly recommend checking out the one in Lakeview Plaza in Orland Park because top notch. Like if you go in there,
he's a really great guy over there. We went there before we opened the store and spoke with him.
We actually got he wants me to bring some people from the store because he will teach us how to play Shadow War.
There you go. That's a good way to do it.
He's very excited, and he clearly has a passion for the game, and I'm hoping we can help elevate that even further.
So now that we're going to be doing that on Mondays and Tuesdays, we are going to be moving our War Mahords to Saturday.
Which is good. A lot of people seem to be pretty excited about that because we don't discriminate with miniatures games here, so we try to offer a good variety. War Machine is another one that we've really been enjoying and getting more into. I know I've gone nuts and bought a lot of Khador stuff in the last month that I'm slowly piecing together. So I think having that on Saturdays will be really exciting because people can come on down and get some War Mahords in.
Absolutely. Another bit of business about the store itself before we move on to the game news. We have launched our web store.
That is right.
Not everything, obviously, is on there, but I'm working on getting everything that we are allowed to sell online up and running. We're currently not allowed to sell anything from Asmodee North America.
Which is Fantasy Flight for
Fantasy Flight, Lillibud, Matadot, a lot of different game companies, Z-Man Games. But everything that we are able to sell online, I'm in the process of putting it all up there. So every day I get more and more of our inventory viewable online, and we'll go ahead and put the link to the store in the description as well.
Yes, and if you guys can stop by the store, share it with your friends, even purchase some stuff, everything goes to help us out. And like I said, we're trying to offer as much as we can to the gaming community here in Chicago, and we'd love to extend that reach to people who maybe can't get down here or anything.
Right.
I know you guys probably have your own local gaming stores, but we appreciate everyone who watches these videos, our unboxing videos, everything like that. Speaking of which, we did get a few games of Cthulhu Wars in here since the mention of unboxing videos. But please check out greenfiregames.net.
greenfiregames.net, and then there's a link up top for our web store.
Excellent.
I'll put a direct link for our web store in the description for this video once we're
excellent.
We're done.
It looked like, at a cursory glance, it looks like it's your standard. It's stuff you would want.
Yeah.
Like I noticed we sell some of the modeling equipment.
Yeah, our hobby supplies we're going to be putting up there. They're not up yet. They will be.
Right. Yeah. It's a work in progress,
up.
but it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
And just a side note, I just want to say thank you to I unfortunately didn't catch his name, but I don't know if anyone saw our Cthulhu Wars Onslaught 2 unboxing, but we had one of the designers from Peterson Games actually chime in and clarify stuff we were not 100% sure on with those gorgeous and gross minis.
Yeah, let me go ahead. I'll just bring those comments up right now.
Yeah, because I was so excited to play Cthulhu Wars with the new factions and even just to have the game going in store.
Go to Wix.com.
But we had see, he's going to pull that up.
Let me switch over to the screen here. All right, so
a wealth of information regarding
Junamal. I work for Peterson Games, so I thought I'd chime in on some of the confusion as well as add some details. The Nafka actually have 6 legs if you look closely. As we were going through the video, we were kind of commenting on the sculpts.
I mean, even just not even noticing what they were, they're still incredibly joyous to look at. And of course, this gentleman being such a wealth of information, it actually was really cool because we talked about it briefly during the unboxing. Cthulhu Mythos is a very large thing.
Yes.
There's countless facets to it. And what I love about Cthulhu Wars is that it kind of lets you sort of see sort of a physical take on them. And having someone knowledgeable on it kind of fill in what's going on with like the Shosho, the Nafke. Like it was just really cool. And as a Cthulhu kind of fanatic, as a Cthulhu fanatic who is unfortunately not the most well versed in the deeper parts of the lore, it was really cool to have that. And it shows people are watching. Pardon me.
Yeah, I am. I definitely enjoy whenever we get the positive feedback, or really any feedback. It doesn't have to be positive feedback. I like engaging with the community of people who are watching our stuff.
I just think it's great that we had someone from Peterson Games actually chime in on that because those guys put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched the video, check it out. We do a really nice close-up of all the miniatures that come in that box, and sure, it's not as cool as actually holding them, especially the Hastur one. But being able to check those out is really cool.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump into the news here.
because this is one I'm very excited for. Fantasy Flight Games, the long-rumored expansion has finally been revealed, and it's a big one for someone like me, especially. One of the most frequently laughed at ships in X-Wing, to the point where purchasing it, you call it the Auto Thrusters expansion pack with a free Star Viper.
Yeah.
The Star Viper was a ship that Prince Shizor flew, the Black Sun Syndicate, I believe. Really awesome looking ship, very unique looking ship. Not a very good ship, kind of garbage. I tried flying it for fun, and it just doesn't have a lot of staying power. So with this,
but look how pretty this new one is.
Well, that's what I'm excited about. Not only are we getting the Guns for Hire expansion, which is going to give us some tweaks that'll fix that and even buff the Kirax fighter, which I didn't think was that bad. But then again, I'm more of an Imperial player, but I do want to break into Scum.
Well, I mean, these sets aren't necessarily about taking something that didn't work and making it.
Oh, yeah.
It's about adding new playability to it.
Which is what I think is awesome.
I mean, this is very much a Scum Aces.
Exactly. That's what everyone was,
because
that's what the big debate was, because Rebels got their Aces, Imperial got Veterans and Aces, Scum finally gets Guns for Hire.
And now that Scum's getting their Epic ship also.
It's
the new Interceptor cards.
That's right. The Skik is going to get a couple different ones. Yep. So it's a good time to be a Scum player. I know this has got me... I just want the Star Viper model, but I'm also just excited to have these new upgrades, because as you can see, it adds Star Viper Mark II.
Harpooned!
The Harpoon is going to be another option now. Really playing with the backhanded sort of tactics that the Black Sun Syndicate would typically use.
Let's check out these titles that we get.
Yeah, the Vaskai one, I think, was squad point cost of each of your equipped upgrades is reduced by 1 to a minimum of 0. May equip up to 3 different modification upgrades.
That is crazy.
That is going to make that a very versatile ship that you can almost customize to be what you want.
Now, is this to fight the idea that maybe the Kirax is a little too overpriced?
It could, but it also gives it some more versatility, because I'll admit, once again, I could be completely wrong, but when I was messing around with Scum lists coming from my Imperial background, the Kirax kind of felt like just a different take on the Protectorate. You know, the Protectorate's the crown jewel of a Scum list in most cases, because you have Fen Rao, Old Tirok, stuff like that, I believe. So having the Kirax be sort of this more versatile, almost like a Swiss Army knife of small ships, combine that with some of the pilots that you can get in there, like Talonbane Cobra and everything like that, you'll have a very fast-moving and very destructive ship. But the Star Viper card is really interesting, because this allows you to take 2 different title upgrades. It can, once again, kind of adds to that versatility. But the real thing I'm excited about is the change it makes to the barrel roll action. You actually use the bank
instead of a straight.
Exactly. So that makes that a very maneuverable and interesting ship, and I'm really excited to see that in close combat, because one of the things I love doing is I love using things like barrel rolling and boosting. So imagine if you had, and it also lowers the cost.
It has a negative 3 cost.
So it frees up some slots for those, frees up some points for those 2 titles you might be deciding between.
And I think that's one of the things, is people saying, yeah, you have the Star Viper out there, but
it's pricey.
It's pricey, and it's not that...
No, the dial isn't very good. It wants to be a jouster, but it can't.
But adding this maneuverability in, and also look at the artwork back there with its wings folded down. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, I've seen some people make some pretty cool custom models that allow the wings to snap, to fold down. But I really love the idea of altering the Star Viper to be more of an in-your-face, like a knife fighter almost.
Yeah, I mean, these are lovely
I love the
paint
Kirax
jobs.
fighter one. Like, that is such a cool design. And then, of course, one of the new pilots.
Victor Hell.
After defending, if you did not roll exactly 2
defense dice.
Yeah, the 2 defense die, the attacker receives 1 stress token.
So if they mess with your ability to evade,
they basically have to receive a stress, and that can be a killer.
Or if you put on a modification that increases your evade somehow. With the, what was the one? I believe they mentioned it here.
Auto thrusters?
Stealth device.
Ah, yes.
You increase your agility by 1.
Typically reserved for... Yeah, I typically put that on anything.
Let's see.
Scavenger crane is another option you can throw on there.
Expose.
Yeah, they have that's the thing. It seems like these ships in the Guns for Hire pack, they're really looking on expanding on the versatility of two of the most underlooked ships in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly can't wait to get my hands on them because I am looking forward to fielding 2 Star Vipers with that sexy new Q-Rex. I don't know, the black and white color along with the Star Viper's black and red design.
Yeah.
It's just cool looking, and I love that we're getting these alternate art models.
Yeah, and the black sun paint job.
Yeah,
on the Q-Rex
it's
is so
just
cool.
awesome.
All right, so let's jump over to the next bit of news that we have,
Right.
which is more Rune Wars
Yeah,
previews.
I mean, I have to get back into playing more Rune Wars as much as I love it, but it looks like more and more the Latari
I've got a few more games under my belt.
Good, so you kind of...
Yeah.
I'll probably have to ask some questions, but it looks like the Latari elves are really going to be a threat.
So this week we're talking about the Aimlin Scions, which are the siege unit for the Latari elves. And the first thing I'd like to point you towards here is their defense is 1 plus stable energy. So the defense is either 2 or 3 depending on the round. That's low compared to the Golem, whose is a 4.
True.
And I believe the Carrion Worm is a 3. So the fact that this can get as low as a 2 is interesting.
But
it has 3 health.
Yeah, and think about this can be a very interesting unit because if you think about it, it's another one of those units much like the Golem, where if things turn out right with the roll of the rune tokens, this thing can be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like if you can get, because it's a lot. If you get at least 2,
and that's the thing, because it's using stable energy.
Yeah.
If the Rune Golem is powerful, so is he.
Exactly. So
because it uses the same stat.
So you can have a very interesting standstill.
Let's see. It's worth 14 points as a single. 62 points as a block of 6 of them.
That's terrifying to consider.
It rolls a red and a blue for ranged, and a red and 2 blue for melee.
See, that's what makes it really scary, I think. It's the fact that it actually has good range. Like, it actually has a really good...
Well, look at its ability here. For either melee or range, spend 2 charges and the defender receives a stun token. And then when you collide with an enemy or an enemy collides with you, that enemy receives 1 immobilized token.
So you can really mess some people up with these.
Yeah, everything we've seen so far with the elves has been about allowing them to move around a lot. This is the first thing we've seen that they have that is all about locking down the enemy.
Powerhouse. It's a stun locker.
Yeah.
And I think the real interesting thing here, I got to admit though, the more we learn about the Latari elves, the more I just want to know more about the Uthik Yulam.
Yeah.
Like I really want to see what they're going to be all about.
Let's look at its dial here.
So not the most.
So it's slower than the Rune Golem.
Understandable.
Well, not necessarily.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant it's slower than a majority of the other things. But I mean, you got to consider once again the basic 3 movement. That's based on your stable energy.
That's actually
is it the unstable?
Natural energy, I believe.
Okay.
So the most you could have is a 3. Okay. Whereas the Rune Golem, it's one that relies on unstable energy. It's either 0, 2, or 4. This is anywhere from 1 to 3. You also get the negatives on the movement.
True.
And then when you do your special or ranged attack, you could turn. You could reform.
You can also buff your
defense, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the Rune Golem has an ability, its reform modifier is white. So you could do that, you could move and then turn any way you want.
See, but one thing though, a siege unit with the, like a bigger unit with ranged attacks really, that's a threat. Because if there's one thing I've learned, ranged attacks can be a killer. Like,
yes.
Right now, at least.
It makes a big difference in this game.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you can get, like, out of the core box, if you can get the Wykar archers in a decent spot, you can whittle down forces pretty brutally.
One of the things it suggests here is to use trumpets, which comes in the core set. The turning modifiers cannot reduce your speed.
So you can add some more maneuverability, change your arc up a bit more.
But let's take a look at both of these. We have the support scion. You must deploy this figure to your back rank. Okay, so it's along with your archers, which is their only infantry unit at the moment. So you have this guy in the back, and it's after your activation. If you're at range 1 minus natural energy of overgrown terrain, you may perform a speed 1 shift movement. This movement cannot be used to disengage.
That's interesting.
So an example of that, they actually have an image down here, is since you're within range of this, after you attack, you can then move, so long as you're within range of these overgrowth tokens.
Interesting.
The other one, though, is the frontline Scion. With an attack or with a melee or range, you exhaust this card, and the defender receives 1 stun token. Spend 2 energy if this card is exhausted to ready the card. So you can. It gives its basic attack ability that it would normally have on its own to the archers, where you just drop them in.
And just looking at the sculpt, it's definitely a cool
it's
looking.
lovely. I love how what we're seeing with these large siege creatures is they're very dependent on magic.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah.
It's a big unit. It requires a lot.
That's definitely one of the mechanics of those magic tokens that a lot of people need some getting used to.
Yeah.
Because it's different compared to something like Armada or X-Wing. But I think it's a really nice touch.
It is. It changes up the game. And it kind of it prevents these units from being unstoppable powerhouses.
And these are going to be found in the Latari Elves big box expansion, as well as an expansion that's going to be 2 additional.
Right. And odds
ones.
are they're going to include that extra sculpt.
And, yep, most likely.
Which is something I really like.
And that's going to be coming out in Q3 of this year.
So we're getting there. By then, I think a lot of people will have. It'll be a good way to shake up the game. And then hopefully we'll start seeing some Mitsuki-lan.
Now, switching from Fantasy Flight's miniatures games to some of their living card games, there was a preview of the new expansion, the new Mythos pack for the Arkham Horror card game as part of the Dunwich Legacy campaign. This one is the 5th or the 6th pack in this storyline.
I don't know, man. We're getting... We have so much Arkham Horror.
Yeah, they are pounding these stories out.
I mean, this must be great if you're a huge, if you actually have a consistent group to play this game with each week or month. You must be in heaven with how fast they've been putting these out.
Well, one of them that's coming in this pack is called I've Had Worse, and it's a blue card that says it's a fast one, so you could play it at any time. Play when you're dealt damage and or horror, cancel up to 5 of that, and then gain that many resources.
That makes me terrified of what's waiting in that box.
If that's something, because...
Well, now, keep in mind, that's a 4th level, so that's not even like a max... That almost seems like... I mean, just based on our experience with the game, that seems like it should be like a... Like 5th level.
Higher, yeah.
Yeah, but that's really cool. I love the artwork, too.
This is one that we're going to be doing a playthrough of the... all the stories in the main box. We're going to do the playthrough videos, and then we're going to do our review of the game. And that's all going to come up at the same time. So, and that's something that we've kind of been waiting on because we've been working on some other games. And then once all of the Dunwich Legacy packs are out, we're going to sit down and do that whole campaign as well.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to make it sort of like an ongoing series of sorts.
Yeah.
And I think... with us being the 2 players, we could really have a lot of fun with that.
Yep.
We've already got our decks built.
Mm-hmm.
We got everything kind of set, so we're going to start hammering that out soon.
So there's also Fearless, a sorcerer one.
Not something you hear very often. And wait a minute.
If this skill test is successful, heal 1 horror. 2 horror instead if it succeeds by 2 or more.
I think that one's in my deck right now.
It is a 2nd level, so this might be an upgraded version of one that you have.
That artwork just looks really familiar to me, but then again, saying artwork featuring...
This could have been in Eldritch Horror also.
Right, yeah, it's true. Oh, yeah, I'll have to look at because I'm playing the Magic.
Let's see, there's Moment of Respite. It's a neutral one. Play only if there are no enemies at your location. Heal 3 horror and draw a card.
Lots of healing I'm noticing and damage mitigation.
Yeah.
So that really makes me wonder if when you get towards the end of these campaigns or deeper into them, if you're going to be focusing on a lot more combat.
Yeah, these I'm real excited. I really enjoyed this game. It's a very different.
Me too.
This is the first really living card game that I've played, and I've played a lot more role-playing games, and I've played some other living card games since then, and I love how this has that connection to role-playing.
It does, and I'm very excited to see where our campaign goes. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a lot of. We'll probably laugh, we'll cry.
Yeah,
we might just learn a thing or two.
Blow things up with dynamite.
I hope that happens again. I'm sure we're going to make it happen. You put dynamite in your deck, right?
I believe so.
All right.
Yeah.
I think there was a discussion like, should I put dynamite? We just kind of looked at each other like, yeah? Yeah, you're right.
And then the last bit that we have is an upcoming game.
Which a lot of people
Legend of Five Rings.
A lot of people in the store are very excited about this because we have some old school Legend of the Five Rings players back when it was a collectible card game.
So on the box here, you see characters from the different clans. These are the Crane clan, the Scorpion clan, and the Lion clan here. It looks like we have the Phoenix clan on the side. There are 7, I believe, major clans.
I think so, because there's also the Crab clan.
Mm-hmm. The Unicorn.
This is all new to me, so
the Dragon clan.
Yeah, I'm learning about it.
I believe that's all 7. This article focuses on the Crane clan. The Crane clan are very hoity-toity.
Beautiful artwork.
Yes, they're very, very proper, and it's all about honor and
right.
respect and disrespect. So let's take a look at some of the cards.
I love the Sumi ink style.
Yeah, and these are all going to be in the core set for the Crane clan.
Yeah,
so you have the philosophy of the Crane clan. As an action, you choose a Crane character you control, and you honor that character. Okay?
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting to learn about all the techniques.
Then we have the Savvy Politician. Reaction: after this character is honored, choose a character and honor that character.
I'm noticing that theme of honor.
You're seeing how this is going to kind of play out for the way their play style is. What do we have here? The Ashina Artisan. Action: during a conflict, bow this character. Choose another Crane character. That character gets +3 fan until end of conflict. This game, I don't know the terminology for this one yet.
Well, that's the thing. Like when I heard about it, everyone kept saying L5.
Diplomacy, because it's combat and diplomacy are the 2 stats.
Well, everyone kept saying L5R, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I looked into it, and I was like, oh, Legend of the Five Rings, and I honestly did not expect it. Very rich history to it. Mm-hmm. And these cards, the living card game looks like it's going to try and expand on that. So
what do we have here? We have Cloud the Mind. It's a spell. Play only if you control and I'm going to go ahead and guess because I've never actually said this word out loud. Shugenja?
I would say Shugenja.
Shugenja
I'd
character?
have to assume because of the G, but that once again, I'm no expert.
Yeah. Treat the attached character as if its printed text box were blank, except for its traits. So you use this to get rid of a character's abilities.
All right. Noticing some Netrunner parallels.
We have Kakita Asami, a courtier. Action: while this character is participating in a diplomacy conflict, if you count more current diplomacy skill in the conflict than your opponent, take 1 honor from that opponent. So you're basically out-talking them and like embarrassing them in front of everybody.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see where L5R goes.
The Height of Fashion. This attachment cannot be played during a conflict.
Tides of Fashion.
And it adds 4 to your diplomacy.
So I'm assuming the Scorpion clan's probably going to be like the opposite.
They're probably going to be a very diplomacy-heavy character as well, but in a different way.
Okay.
It's all about being sneaky.
Okay.
Whereas these guys are just make you feel bad about yourself. The Scorpion clan is poisoning you, and then when you're sick, they're out talking you.
Okay. I can get behind that. That's why that explains. That explains a lot of the people who we've had in the store talk about. Oh yeah, I'm going Scorpion clan. It's like, yeah, I can see that. I wanted to be Unicorn clan just to mess with people.
The Asahina Storyteller. Sincerity. When this character leaves play, draw 1 card. Each Honored Crane character you control gains sincerity. So whenever they leave, you're getting more cards for everybody.
Yeah, I gotta look into the actual how this game works. It sounds cool, though. It definitely doesn't sound like a Netrunner reskin, which is really important.
Let's see. This is a Bushi, which is like a. So all of the characters are samurai because that's a class of people. You're playing. It's a social role. You're born into it.
It's very steeped into like it's not just samurais versus ninjas. It's more like it's taking the very
yes
Kurosawa sort of approach to it.
A Bushi is what a lot of people think of when they think of samurai. They're the warriors of the class. So this guy is a duelist. When this character is participating in a conflict, your opponent must choose a participating character he or she controls. Challenge that character to a combat duel. If this character wins, move each character not involved in the duel home. If it loses, send it home. So it's a way of controlling the battlefield and mitigating what characters they have out.
I think that's a pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean there are a lot of these.
Yeah, I mean this is a full blown hey, this is what.
These are the Crane Clan cards that you get.
If you're someone who's curious about this game and Crane Clan sounds like what you want to look into, this is a good way to.
I mean, this is the flavor that's added onto it too is great.
Yeah.
Above question, attached character cannot be chosen as the target of an opponent's event. And you see in the artwork, you see the guards storming in, and they're just kind of arrogantly pushing them off. Like, do you know who I am?
Very excited to see how this game plays out, especially with. I mean, it's always good. I love the living card game format.
Yeah, there are a lot of these, and I really can't wait.
And I'm really excited though because this is going to show. I'm sure they're going to start doing these for the other clans as well. So.
Oh, here's an important location for them: a city. During a diplomatic conflict, bow this stronghold. Choose a participating character with a diplomacy skill of 2 or lower, and bow that character. So you can intimidate your opponent's characters just by being in your home field.
Essentially, like tapping.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, can't wait. I want to see more of the other clans.
Yeah, this is between how I'm seeing what it looks like the gameplay is, the artwork, the flavor text on it is all wonderful.
Yeah.
The marriage of fluff and crunch, mechanics and story. I'm very excited about this one. This speaks to me more than a lot of the living card games do.
Understandable. It's another. It looks like it's got its own unique sort of concepts to it. And once again, the artwork. They don't hold back with quality.
Yeah, I mean this is pretty wonderful. So that's the last bit of news that we had. Let me switch cameras here. Yeah, so that's all of the new stuff that we saw over the last week. I know we're showing this a little bit later than we normally do in the week because of Memorial Day.
Hope everyone had a good Memorial Day.
But that also allowed us to talk about some of these Fantasy Flight announcements that hadn't come out.
Yeah, I think the Guns for Hire came out yesterday.
Yep, as well as the Latari Elves.
Yeah, so I mean it's very exciting to see all these new. I'm just really happy to see X-Wing getting kind of a big shake-up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Star Viper being a viable ship, it'll change things up a bit.
Yeah.
Other than that, I got to admit, I'm kind of drawing a blank.
I think the only thing that we have left is to kind of pitch an idea. You look like you are fried, so I will throw one out at you.
Yeah, I'm a little...
let's see.
And
I would like to see a game... I'd like to see a game that is a...
Wait, I have an idea for a game.
Sure, go ahead.
So I've been watching a lot of footage of that Friday the 13th game.
The video game.
The video game, yeah, the game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's been getting a lot of mixed reviews. I do want to get it at some point. But I was kind of thinking, I've played a lot of asymmetrical games where it's... sorry, I keep looking over there. We had to switch our camera setup, so I'm a little... Not a professional, clearly.
A little fuzzled?
A little bit. But I was thinking, are there any games out there, and there probably are, but are there any games where it's one person playing as an unstoppable sort of almost killer chasing down other people, like a reverse Fury of Dracula almost.
Yeah, there are. So there's one that actually uses that Friday the 13th like theme too. There's one called Last Friday.
Okay,
it's made by Ares Games.
That is the one I was looking at, because I was just thinking, like, that's a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course the big draw of the game is, but it's also the fear of.
So that one is a hidden movement game. There's another one called Camp Grizzly.
You told me about that one.
Which uses the same theme, and you're kind of developing the storyline. Both really cool games. I've had a chance to try them both. They're a lot of fun. But what about what's a different mechanic that we could add to that theme, that psycho killer theme? What's a different type of game that you could do?
Well, I think that what they could do is, because it seems like all these games are based around serial, like masked killers.
Mm-hmm.
Your Jason Voorhees or your Michael Myers of sorts.
Your supernatural maniac in the woods.
Where it's mostly just their whole thing is that they come at you, they kill you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love the Friday the 13th movies, but let's be honest here, Jason had a very specific technique when it came to murdering horny teenagers.
Yeah.
He'd come at you with what he could find, or he'd do it with his bare hands.
No, he would hide under your bed. This is in every single movie. Hide under the bed, hold your head down, and then a knife through the bed.
That, or he goes for the less subtle approach, pick you up while you're in a sleeping bag and just bash you against a tree.
See, they only did that in one movie.
Two. Jason X.
Yeah, and?
Friday the 13th part, oh man, which one was it where he did it for the first time? Because that's a throwback to another kill.
Okay.
That he did in one of the movies. I got to admit, those movies outside of part 4 and 6, they
the one with Corey Feldman, and then one with the other actor that plays Corey Feldman, same character,
Tommy Jarvis.
Yes.
But what I was going to say regarding a new game like that, have it where you're up against a different type of killer, like a hidden movement game in a space station where one person is like a xenomorph.
Okay.
Or something that's not like, something more sneaky. Like you have a character, like you can move through like air ducts and like smaller spaces, and the other people have to and you can do things like trigger alarms, like the players can set up hidden alarms and stuff like that. Like I'm just trying to think of ways to sort of shake it up, because everything I've seen has always been that whole you're the masked killer. There are 1,000 different variations on the one versus all mode I think you can do, because there have been video games like Evolve, where you're a big monster fighting against hunters.
What if you have a game? How about a solo play game? Okay. That is loosely based around the idea of a movie like Home Alone, where you have your layout, and then you've got an AI deck of some kind that is the burglars trying to get in, and you're trying to fend them off. And the way you do that is by setting up different traps,
right?
And creating little engines throughout the house, that is designed to keep the AI at bay.
So the only reason I'm not all for that idea is that I really loved the idea, because one of the things that I noticed watching some of the playthrough footage for the Friday the 13th game is the level of fun both the people playing as the counselors and the people playing as Jason have. Like the sense of dread, like, okay, he's out there, he knows where we are. And that panic when the killer finds you. And, to me, that's kind of the big fun of the game, of those kind of games. Like with Fury of Dracula, it's fun to be Dracula and taunt people, you're the jerk. You're like, yeah, am I here? Am I there? I mean, I drove Phil to insanity trying to hunt me down once. And I just think kind of I guess what I want to see is more of an aggressive take with a supernatural killer. And I think if you made a game that offered different varieties for you to choose from, like, let's say, one killer could be the supernatural masked killer, the maniac. But you could have another killer who's maybe more of like the creeper from Jeepers Creepers.
Sure.
More agile.
Kind of the idea that the teenagers themselves are all the same.
I'd almost want to have teenagers have stats.
Well, okay, but like more or less this.
Oh yeah.
More or less functioning the same. But if you're going up against, the crazed hillbilly.
Yeah.
you're going to play the game very differently than if the boogeyman's coming
Exactly,
after you.
or if you're up against the blob.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that be kind of a cool idea? Like, I guess a game that's similar to that right now is a video game called Dead by Daylight, which uses it. But they have supernatural killers, but they're all kind of the basic thing. Mm-hmm. But I think it'd be awesome if you had the option
where the gameplay itself is wildly different depending on which
because they have like
type of villain you're using.
But think about it: if you had the opportunity, like, hey, I'm going up against my friends. What do they hate? You know, it'd be pretty cool if I played as a giant spider of sorts.
Yeah.
Like, just having that ability, like, I almost think it'd be kind of cool if you had, like, a baseline stat. Or if you, as the villain, make your own.
All right, so the game starts at 9 p.m., you know, in the cabin or the camp or whatever map you're using. Let's say we have multiple maps to choose from.
We'll go with the neighborhood.
Okay. And it's... maybe not 9, but sundown. It's from sundown to sunup. Right. So you've got a handful of turns. Each turn is about an hour in game time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And then depending on the villain, it could be, you know, let's say it's a vampire. It is specifically as soon as the sun comes up, you're safe.
There are certain times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, I think that'd be kind of cool to have like different objectives, different win conditions.
Yeah.
For everybody.
You have to survive this long, or you have to defeat them before this happens.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they get exponentially stronger.
Like you could do something like Fright Night for the most part, where you have a vampire. Like you can even have like reverse scenarios where you're the vampire and the teens have to figure out how to get into your house to rescue someone, or like I just think there's a lot of fun you can have with the horror genre that enough games aren't doing because they all either go for zombies, they either do the Friday the 13th thing, or they do Lovecraft.
Yeah.
And I just think there is a lot of freedom you can have there. So, you're fine, guys. Nobody's gonna yell at you. But I just think there's a way. There's more to the horror genre that could be done.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like everybody's kind of chasing after that same idea.
Mm-hmm. Or it's another one that I see a lot is, you know, spooky fairy tales.
Yeah, that's another one I'm a little burnt out on.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of, like if I had to give an example of one time, like, I really think the atmosphere for a game was pitch perfect, and I'd want to create that, except with an asymmetrical point of view. Time Stories.
Okay.
Not going to do any spoilers, but got to play the Expedition expansion.
Expedition Everest, yeah.
And that was incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was because
we actually didn't get a chance to finish it.
We didn't get a chance to finish it.
That same group. That's one of the hard things of the game is if you're playing with a group of people, getting that same group of people together.
True.
Can be tricky.
But if you could create that sense of dread and unease, like, okay, we got to get out of here. Like, could you imagine playing a game and your opponent has you like right where he wants you, but you have like a last ditch effort, like, okay, guys, we got to think, how the hell can we get out of here? Like, you know, can we get to the car? Can we repair? Can someone try and stall him? You could have characters do like heroic sacrifices. Like, you could create your basic own horror movie, but you have a little bit more freedom with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, I think Expedition Everest was kind of made better because we had the Thing soundtrack going on loop in the background, but I think
it helps.
You could get that sense of dread and just unease.
It helps.
In an asymmetrical game, and I just think it'd be kind of fun to be the killer, you know? But you're not out just, oh, I'm going to kill this NPC character. Like, no, I'm going to outsmart my friend. Mm-hmm. I know how they think. And you could have, like, really cool power-up cards like Stalk. Like, you know, no matter how, like, if you're playing as the supernatural killer, you perform a walk action, but you actually move 5 spaces.
Yeah.
Or something like that. You can have a lot of fun with the tropes that people have. You can, like, set traps as both sides. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, if you think back in the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, you could even have a dream killer, which could be really cool because maybe a big portion of maybe that particular scenario, your characters have a fatigue meter that's constantly going up.
Yeah.
And as the supernatural killer or the dream killer, you're finding ways to like interact with the real world to screw with them and get them to. And maybe they're trying to get they're trying to get something to stop you. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of fun to be had, in my opinion, but I don't want to go too deep because I'm just thinking of all the horror movies I've watched now. There's a lot, but I think that's something that would be really cool to see. Something that gives like both players the freedom to kind of Give the person who's going to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Freedom.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much everything we've got for this week.
I think that's all I've got.
Make sure to check out our website, greenfiregames.net. Follow us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. All the fun stuff to get the news of what's going on here at the store.
Patreon soon.
Yep, we're getting that finalized over the next week or so, and then we'll have our Patreon campaign fully launched. I'll make sure to share that with you guys. And thanks again for watching. We really appreciate the community we're building here.
Can't wait to see more.
Guys, have a good one.
All right, everybody.